Welcome to Lesson 7 in Unit 4, Seeing, Hearing, Smelling, and Touching Like a Scientist. In this lesson, students will answer the question, how can we think like a scientist to make a positive change? In the previous lesson, students used the scientific process to develop an investigation about rocks. In this lesson, students will think about how we look at the properties of materials to determine how we should recycle them and how we can use the property of materials to help make a positive impact when it comes to cleaning up our earth. By the end of this lesson, students will engineer a device to pick up trash out of water. In the engage portion of this lesson, students will be introduced to the phenomenon that we have two different types of bins that we put trash in. One bin is blue and one bin is black, and based on the properties of the material we are trying to throw away, we'll put them in one of these two bins. You will then read Recycle by Gail Gibbons. In the book, you'll stop on the page that discusses that our landfills are getting overfilled. You'll then show students these two images of plastic bottles found in our oceans and rivers and ask students, what problems does this cause when we have overflowing landfills? What do you notice? What do you think we can do about this problem? How do you think this trash problem affects the animals and plants that live in the oceans and the rivers? In the Explore portion of this lesson, you'll talk to your students about what they know about recycling. You can ask them if they recycle at home, if they recycle at school, and then you'll take a tour around the building to see what types of recycling options your students have in your school. Spend time talking about what goes in recycling bins and what goes in trash cans. This changes by the city, so it would be important to check out your city's policies on recycling. In the Explain part of this lesson, you will watch the Wonder Grove Kids Recycle video with your students. At the end of your video, ask students, how does recycling help the earth? You will then finish the Read Aloud book, Recycle. Use the Read Aloud guide found in the teacher pages to help you summarize the different types of materials that we can recycle. Spend a little extra time talking about plastics and how we can recycle plastics. Students will work on recycling plastics and talking about plastics in the Elaborate portion of this lesson. Students will then watch Ways to Make Less Trash by Sid the Science Kid and talk about ways that they can make less trash in their school environment. Talk about different ways that you as a class can inform other students in the school about what can be recycled and what can't be recycled. There's an option to make posters to hang up around the school. In the Elaborate portion of this lesson, you'll refer back to these images of plastics floating in our rivers and our oceans. Ask students, do you think there's a way we can design a solution to help fix this problem? Students can draw the ideas they brainstorm on the student page Removing Trash Challenge. You will then have a conversation with your students about how engineers use the engineering design cycle to design solutions that can help fix a problem, like having too much trash in our oceans or our rivers. Explain to students that they're going to develop a prototype of their idea that will help solve the solution of floating plastics in water. Students will be given pipe cleaners, popsicle sticks, straws, masking tape, and aluminum foil to try to solve this problem. To simulate this problem, you're going to put the assorted materials into a bowl of water. Once students build their prototypes, you'll have them test them to see if they can retrieve those bags of assorted materials from the water. Once students have designed their prototypes, have them draw a picture of the prototype they designed. Then after they test their prototypes, have them determine, did your prototype work? Was it able to pick up the trash and solve our problem? Give students the opportunity to redesign their prototypes if time allows. In the Evaluate portion of this lesson, students will have the opportunity to draw a picture to show how other people can reduce trash. If your students are ready, have them write about their drawing. Refer back to the two different colored bins we used to throw away our discarded materials. Ask students, why do we have these different colors? And what purpose do these bins serve? By the end of this lesson, students will have identified how humans impact our Earth, and they will have designed a solution about how they could solve the problem of excess trash in our environment.